What was it like experiencing the draft?
Okay, experience the draft was everybody was freaking out because nobody, at least of our age, we were college age at that point, nobody liked the idea of going to war. So what everybody did is when we heard about the draft, everybody tried to get out of it. And a lot of people went to Canada. We know people that moved to Canada. There was nobody that really wanted to go.
All short answer.
Right.
They did numbers.
They did, yeah, but that came on afterwards. And then what happened is if you didn't want to go, you got deferments if you were in college for a certain period of time, or you went to medical school or that. But then they had a lottery because they felt it was unfair to just draft every kid. So they did lotteries by dates. By birth dates. And at that time, fortunately, I was number 200 and...
No, 352.
I was 352 out of 365.
What does that mean?
So my lottery number would have been way, way, way down at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So you had like no chance of getting picked?
No, it was very slim.
Oh.
But everybody else did everything. I have friends that got into medical school in Italy to avoid the draft.
Oh,
because then that was a deferment.
Oh. Do you know what a sit-in is?
Yes.
A sit-in? Yeah, of course.
Okay. Were you ever involved in one?
No.
No, not really. We just didn't get involved, but there were a lot at college.
No. Just short answer.
Just no. You want a short answer, that's it. No,
Yeah.
we didn't get involved, but we knew people that did.
Okay. When you were living during the war, what objects were not accessible?
We didn't have any problem. We got everything. We weren't really involved.
Okay. Was there anything that stopped you from going into the draft? And can you describe your feelings towards the draft?
Okay.
You didn't want to die.
Yeah. Because what we were hearing, what was going on in Vietnam and over there, a lot of people were getting killed.
Yeah.
And you just didn't want to go. So people, a lot of people, I had a friend who burnt his draft card.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That can get you in a lot of trouble. We learned about that.
Yeah, but he said, what's worse, going over there or burning your draft card? A lot of guys would go over there, they didn't come back.
Yeah.
It became teachers.
Yeah, a lot became teachers. If you became a teacher, you could, you avoided going into the army or it being drafted.
Did you have a lot of friends that went into the draft?
Yes.
Some didn't come back.
And some never came back.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what was the purpose of the Vietnam War?
Back then, we didn't know. It was going to be, that there was a bad group over there, the North Vietnamese or the Viet Cong, they called them, and we heard that, the French couldn't get rid of them, and back then, the United States said, well, we'll get rid of them. We're the biggest power, and it turned out to be a big mistake. And as the war went on, and we saw more and more people getting killed, that we didn't have a good strategy to win that war.
So you think the U.S. got involved because we were the biggest power?
I believe so. At least at that age, I believed it. Even now, I don't know why we got into it.
Did you witness a lot of protests during the Vietnam War?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we had tons of protests.
Really? Where?
Well, the biggest one was Kent State. I was in my last year of college, and Kent State occurred, and they called in the National Guard, and they shot a couple of students. And all of a sudden, all universities shut down. I didn't have a graduation class. I had no finals my last year of college.
Oh, that's really interesting.
I didn't have
Yeah.
finals either.
And yeah, Grandma she was a year behind, and she didn't have finals. I couldn't get into it. You couldn't, there were no finals, there was nothing.
Let me just tell us something. Now, I in my school was a little more radical than his school, because my school was near Columbia University, so they used to have, like, all of a sudden there'd be fires on campus, there were police all over the place, on campus every day, and whatever mark you had at that time, you didn't have to take finals, you just got that grade, that was it.
Oh, that's like...
Yeah, there was a lot of riots. There was a lot going on. Like people who fight against Trump right now, it was worse back then. They just didn't believe that the United States was doing anything good, and we felt bad for all the young people who had to go over there and fight.
Were you ever... Oh, wait, never mind. Do you know what the Tet Offensive was?
Yes.
Yes.
What was your opinion on that?
Well, it turned out that the Tet Offensive was more the North Vietnam and the Viet Cong that went after the Americans.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of losses in that, and that made us even weaker, and then we went after them gung-ho.
Did you experience any repercussions of the war?
Personally, no. Not really.
Okay. Why do you think the U.S. pulled out of the war?
Because it would never be able to be won.
Shelby, you have to remember, this was in Vietnam. It was jungle. We didn't know how to fight in the jungle.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what we did, we were losers.
Yeah, they had more tunnels dug. They had more ways to defeat us no matter what we did.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was a non-winnable war. There was no way this war was going to be won.
Do you support the war now? Like, do you think it had a positive or negative effect?
Oh, I think it was, well, right now, because we have good relationships with the country right now, but it wasn't, you can't support it now. I never liked it, and I still didn't like what we did.
And you think the U.S. should have pulled out?
Yes.
Okay.
We were losing too many people, too many young people.
We were gaining nothing.
And gaining nothing out of it. We couldn't win anything. We weren't going to make Vietnam a normal democratic country. There was no way. They were too strong.
Yeah. Okay. What was it like experiencing the draft?
Okay, experience the draft was everybody was freaking out because nobody, at least of our age, we were college age at that point, nobody liked the idea of going to war. So what everybody did is when we heard about the draft, everybody tried to get out of it. And a lot of people went